here today at Princeton Battlefield State Park to talk with you about a project of revolutionary proportions. The state park is located roughly 1 mile southwest of Princeton University, off to my left. The battle that took place here within the historic village of Stony Brook, a Quaker village. We're in front of the Thomas Clark House. Here, the Clarks, a member of that village, would see one of the most significant battles of the Revolutionary era, the end of what historians call the 10 crucial days that would see Washington cross the Delaware, the battles at Trenton, and then close here at Princeton. That significance brought the American Battlefield Trust to this land in 2016 and 2017 to save what is today almost 15 acres of historic core battlefield. That land lies off to my left beyond this copse of trees and includes the portion of the battlefield where Washington led his men in a monumental charge that changed the course of not only this battle, but the course of American history. Princeton Battlefield State Park occupies only a portion of the broader historic boundaries of the battle in order to convey what took place on this landscape. It is our vision in the plan to bring Maxwell's Field into the fold of the state park, to restore the character-defining features of this battlefield. Here in front of the house, of course, we have the historic structure of the Thomas Clark House, but beyond, we have character-defining features of the topography, vegetation, the historic fence rows, all of these features that come together to make the battle recognizable to the day in history where our history was changed. The state of New Jersey has been a key partner in the vision and the maturation of that vision for Washington's legacy at Princeton. And joining me today, I'd like to welcome Mark Texel. Mark, could you share with us just a bit about how the plan melds with the aspirations of New Jersey state parks?
My pleasure, Glenn. So we hope to create excitement for visitors when they come and learn about the historic landscape and to give them more meaning and context. Right now, the battlefield is really more of a park setting, which didn't exist this way in time, and our principal objective is to give meaning to the past. So when you step onto Princeton Battlefield, you know you're someplace significant. We want to make it obvious that this is hallowed ground, that the men that gave their lives here did so for the cause of American independence and changing the world in the process of doing that. So restoration of the landscapes will be a very key part of what we do in the plans and part of the Washington's legacy, a partnership with the American Battlefield Trust. One of the first things that we will do, and one of the most important pieces, is the Sawmill Trace, which was an historic road where Washington and a lot of the column that came into battle that morning rode into that morning. And recreating that Sawmill Trace will be one example of how we will bring these landscapes back to bear and create tours and opportunities for people to explore and learn about what the past looked like and how different it is today in the 21st century.
As we mentioned, the plan to restore and establish a more engaging experience at this park includes the treatment and the restoration of character-defining features of this battlefield and the recapture of missing elements. Just case in point, I'm standing in an area that until 3 months ago was covered in bamboo. So removing invasive species, copse of trees that limit the interpretation of the historic character of the battlefield we'll be looking at as well, and the recapture of some very important circulation features that were critical to Washington's advance. Here to help point out some of those features, I have Will Krakauer. Will is a historian, an interpretive specialist here with the park. Will, tell us about some of those features and as we walk toward Maxwell's Field.
Absolutely, Glenn. So if you head down in this direction, it was mentioned a little while ago that we're about 1 mile south of Princeton. And as we head down this way here, you can see off to my right a little bit of a fence, marks the archaeological trace of what has become known as the Sawmill Road. This is the road we believe that about 2/3 of Washington's army would have taken on their approach to Princeton. As they marched up this way, they would have made a right angle turn somewhere north of where we're standing out towards Princeton. This road today runs parallel to modern-day Mercer Road. It would have also run parallel to what would have been at the time the main road between Princeton and Trenton, known as the King's Highway or the Post Road. Today that's Route 206. Unfortunately for Washington, and unfortunately for Colonel Mahood, this road, this back road, takes them right on a nice piece of high ground where the two spot each other, and inevitably the battle will occur here on the farm of Thomas and his brother William Clark.
And the features that we see here today, the recapture of open spatial character here at the battlefield, will allow us to not only have a more authentic experience of what's currently within the state park, but those 14 acres which lie beyond these woods here across the field and beyond a tree line that currently separates those 14 acres from the state park. We'll look at the recapture of that spatial character and the restoration of Maxwell's Field. Here we are again in the shadow of the Thomas Clark House just behind me. We're standing in the middle of the visitor services area where parking is currently held inside of Core Battlefield. A key element of this plan's restoration is to take visitor services and to relocate it outside of Core Battlefield. Much like the cyclorama at Gettysburg, the inappropriate positioning of parking and the intensive use of parking in this location is not the best use of historic cultural landscape property. We're going to look in a moment at the recommended location of visitor services here about 200 yards to the west.
Well, one of the crucial things we like about this location is that it is, one, of course, off-core battlefield property, so we'll be able to start the visitor experience in a place that won't affect the integrity of the battlefield itself. We also like this location because historically it's right next to our close friends and neighbors, the Princeton Friends Group here in Princeton, New Jersey. This Friends meeting is the same one that would have been here 250 years ago, although at the time they were called the Stony Brook Friends meeting. This is a good place for a visitor's experience to begin because this is a Quaker settlement at the time of the battle. It's a peaceful settlement, and to have the visitors begin their experience here in the battlefield in the kind of mindset that the people who lived here, like the Clark family did, is an important part of the interpretation that we'd like our visitors to the park to have. Beyond that, this location would provide a number of improvements for us as far as visitor services and as far as interpretation. A designated space that actually has room for large groups of people, things like indoor classrooms, accessible bathrooms, and of course, for our own sake, all of the artifacts that we have on display. Right now in the Clark House, we're working on a major upgrade to our exhibit space, but of course, it would be even improved upon if we had a place for, of course, the permanent exhibits that we have, and then the opportunity to have more temporary exhibits, moving exhibits, things on loan from other sites, the space to do work with other sites. It would be an incredible boon to not only the site, but to the visitor experience as a whole here for the battlefield.
A more immersive experience, beginning the experience of this landscape from this location beyond Core Battlefield. The use of signage, the use of digital technology to provide AR and VR interpretation here at the battlefield. Will, how would that provide a more immersive experience here?
One of the things that we really want to hit as we're moving forward in this Washington's Legacy Plan is going to, improve our interpretation, is we want to hit the views, the point of views from every single person who experienced this battle. Our park has been going on, more than 50 years now, and a lot of the signage that we have needs to be updated. We've learned new things, and of course, weather and time plays a terrible toll on things exposed to the elements, and so the new and improved signage, the updated signage, all of that is going to bring a whole new level to our visitor experience, right? Alongside having a visitor center, we want people to come and, have a space to stay inside and to see these artifacts, but really they're here to see the battlefield.
We're here at Maxwell's Field, 14 acres of land saved by the American Battlefield Trust and local and national organizations like the Princeton Battlefield Society and others. On this land, Washington led his charge and changed the course of battle. 14 acres of land to be restored, the character features of the topography, of vegetation, of circulation, all to be brought back to its wartime experience here on this land. One of the most important local preservation organizations, the Princeton Battlefield Society, made the call and engaged the American Battlefield Trust and its partners to assist them in the preservation and the call to action to preserve this land. Here with me, Mike Russell, the president of the Princeton Battlefield Society. Mike, tell us about what the restoration and the protection of this land means to PBS and means to the experience of Princeton Battlefield.
The story of the Battle of Princeton cannot be told without incorporating these 14 acres. This was the culminating point of attack, the complete change of the battle, the complete tidal shift, not only in the battle itself, but eventually in the war as we move forward from this battle. The American Battlefield Trust coming in and helping us to save this land where George Washington made his charge and rallied the troops, was absolutely essential to the overall story that we need to tell to not just the current generation, but future generations.
Mike, tell us about what this land means to you personally.
You know, I spent a lot of time in Princeton growing up as a young boy, coming down, visiting, and I was always intrigued and just fascinated by the history of this area. I had the opportunity to spend time here not only as a spectator to the reenactments, but also as a historian, and finding artifacts that were dropped here in the heat of battle when people were feeling every range of emotion that you can imagine during warfare. And to know that I just picked up a musket ball, or I just picked up a coin, or I just saw something that was dropped here over 240 years ago, and picking it up and holding it and feeling that human experience and basically just going through that range of emotions, that story needs to be told. That needs to be part of the interpretation. And I want people to feel that and to think about that as they consider the war for independence and everything that these men fought for and how hard it was to fight for it, and to appreciate how we have it today.
So you've heard it, the protection of this land, the restoration of character-defining features, the introduction of new interpretive, more immersive interpretive experiences here at Maxwell's Field will be a key component of Washington's legacy here at Princeton, a key component of the plan that will stitch these 14 acres into the Princeton Battlefield State Park just beyond the tree line to my right.